This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Today, Stuart Skinner gives the Oilers every chance he possibly can to win a hockey game, and the Oilers, quite simply, for a third game in a row, do not want it enough to get the job done. It is just a simply embarrassing display of hockey this past few days. Well, I guess over the course of the weekend, really Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as we have now wrapped up 3 games in 4 days, and the Oilers look absolutely disaster class out there. I mean, all the goodwill they built up in the first 3 games of the year where, they looked serious. They looked like, hey, you know what? The goals might not be coming, but they will be coming. And now 3 games later, the goals aren't coming, and the Oilers have lost 3 in a row and are sitting at a 2-3-1 record. Everybody was like, oh, 2-2-1, not that bad. Now 2-3-1, you're right back in the dumpster that is the start of the season as per the last 3 years straight. And it's kind of just getting old, quite honestly. I know I'm getting reports here that Bob Stauffer right now, as we're sitting, is ripping into the team on the 880 Ched Oilers post-game show. But it's just, there is no good thing to be said about the Oilers team as we've now got 6 results in. And it's just, the goaltending is about the only thing that has given the Oilers a legitimate chance to win. Other than that, the defense has been an absolute mess, and the offense just can't figure out that you have to shoot the puck to score goals. And that's despite, there's a lot of guys that have shot the puck, but they're just not shooting the puck when they should. And that's what's costing things here. Passing off, looking for the perfect pass, overpassing, whatever you want to call it. It's all been garbage thus far from the Edmonton Oilers, specifically over the past 3 games. And you see the title of today's video, Wasting Time. This truly is, and I don't know how nobody in oil country can understand this when I preach about this early on. This truly is the time of the year where you build up your game and get going for the season instead of chasing through the months of December, January, February, March, and into April just to hope you're in the top 3. Every single year, we do the same exact dang thing, and it's getting old. It's getting real friggin' old here. The Oilers being a disaster class of a team, just not fighting their way out of a wet paper bag at all at the start of the year is just embarrassing as a fan. It's hard to sit here and have to talk about it every single game, specifically after the last 3 games. It's been the exact same thing. New York Islanders, New Jersey Devils, Detroit Red Wings, the Oilers don't want to shoot the puck, they don't want to win, and they don't want to help themselves defensively, and you end up with 3 L's in the column just like that. Friends, that's how we start tonight. Thanks for being aboard here. This will not be called the Nightcap. We'll go with a different title, but my goodness, the Edmonton Oilers, by the way, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 20,000 here, but let's calm down a sec. The Oilers, not looking good. And you know what? There's a lot of people that will say they haven't looked good all year. And everybody will immediately point to Chris Knobloch juggling the lines, shuffling the lines. Tonight, maybe a little less on him juggling lines because of Kapanen going missing halfway through that second period after hurting himself colliding with the boards. Okay, you're down to 11 forwards. There's going to be juggling. That's what, Jay Woodcroft did with the 11-7. I get it. But what's just truly kind of embarrassing as an Oilers fan is the team, the players that we have assembled year in, year out. This is not last year's team was better, this year's team is worse, and the year before was worse. No, that has nothing to do with it. It's the exact same issues every single year. So it doesn't matter that this team's on paper this or that. I don't give a... Wow, I haven't had to catch myself in a while. You get where I'm going. I don't give at all, because simply this team is baffling head coach after head coach after head coach after head coach. It was Dave Tippett, Todd McClellan, Ken Hitchcock. They all did the exact same thing before Jay Woodcroft and Chris Knobloch showed up here. And somehow, some way, we're still doing the same thing because Connor and Leon and company give the head coach fits when they aren't going because it just doesn't math up. How do these guys not produce yet all year long produce? It is the most baffling thing, right? We're now 2-3-1. I think it's fair to ask Connor McDavid to score a goal 6 games into the season at $12.5 million a year. I think that's fair. Look, Draisaitl's got 4 at 14, so I think you could at least expect 2 out of Connor. Fair? Fair. So it's an issue here where every single year the Oilers just struggle out of the gate. And there's been some years where they win 5 out of the first 6. And they look really good. And then all of a sudden the wheels fall off the bus in late October and it's done until mid-December. And that's where the past few years it's kind of fallen off the bus immediately out of the gates to start the season. And then you're playing catch up the rest of the year. The Oilers finished third in the Pacific Division last year because they started so poor and they finished with so many injuries. So this year, you had a chance to do better and you just are not doing it. The big guys are not leading the way despite leading the way. That has got to be the most frustrating part of this whole experiment so far to start the year. You're missing Hyman, you're missing Wallman, you're missing now Regula and Janmark, and somehow, some way, despite all their lack of scoring, Draisaitl and McDavid, they're still the top scorers on the team. You know, nobody else outside of Nugent Hopkins and maybe Roslovic tonight have really gotten a ton of opportunity to play big minutes for the Oilers this season up front as part of the forward group. But still, nobody outside of Noah Philp is maximizing their minutes. That's the tough part. Yeah, you can say, Roslovic has an assist, whatever, cool. Tomashek has, 2 assists or whatever it is. Kapanen has 2 assists. Maybe Kapanen might have been the difference maker tonight if he would have gotten enough shifts out there. But the Oilers cannot seem, no matter what they do, whether it's because they can't stop and let something happen or find something, they can't seem to find somebody outside of the big 3 or 4 players on this team to produce points. Bouchard still not producing anything. Kulak picks up 2 assists against the Red Wings today. But it's just an absolute mind-boggling situation here because you watch, and I mean everybody was sitting here watching after the Rangers game. Ooh, that wasn't a good game, but we're glad we won it. We just have to be better against the Islanders. And it's gotten worse and worse and worse in 3 straight games. And it's just, so frustrating because you think at some point Connor and Leon would know what to say, what to do against, and it's not like the Rangers, the Islanders, the Devils, and the Red Wings are the Florida Panthers that you just matched up against and, only went 1 for 3. No, these are teams that all these games were winnable if you just gave enough to win. You got the goaltending outside of maybe you want to blame Pickard for the New Jersey game, sure, but you got the goaltending where this Oilers offense is capable of winning all 3 games. You got, enough chances if you would just settle a puck, shoot a puck, and not pass it off. Quite simply. Just actually do something towards the net. Drive the net. Still today, going into today, there was a lot of talk about the Oilers were playing the perimeter game. A lot of the edge work in the offensive zone along the boards and along the end wall and not really jamming up the middle. The Oilers, one guy goes to the middle and tips home a puck and gets a goal out of it. And that, of course, was Noah Philp. A shot from the point that's so innocent, but it goes in because there's traffic in the middle. Incomprehensible situation for the Oilers this year, but it works. That's honestly one of the ways hockey works. Hey, guess what? Detroit also scored a goal like that with traffic in front, a shot from the half wall. So you just got to get to the middle of the ice, and the Oilers, as I said, all the talk about being on the outside going into this game still do not do enough to get to the inside to score the goals they needed to win tonight. And again, it's not a great effort from Stu. We're talking about a sub 900 save percentage, and we're talking about a 3-goal against effort, but it was an effort against Detroit, against a goalie you've beat up over the last few seasons, an effort that was good enough to win if you're the Edmonton Oilers and you don't deliver the results because you just don't do enough offensively or defensively to win the hockey game. Again, Stu makes a couple of brilliant saves simply because the Oilers bleed chances out of nowhere. It's just, you got, go back, watch the tape. At some point, Ekholm's back there in our own zone trying to play a puck, and McDavid just blindly runs into him. That is where we are at. When I'm talking about the top players being the most frustrating part about this team right now, we are so good. Those guys are producing, but they're also costing you just as much at the same time. And it's infuriating because those are the guys that remain the constant. Everybody else is in flux over the last 3 years. And somehow, some way, you're delivering the exact same results as you have the last 2 seasons. So now, 2-3-1 on the year. I tried to reserve being angry after that Devils game because that was frustrating, and it might have something to do with how sleepy I was after that game, and thankfully instead went and napped off the anger. But my goodness, today I have no misgivings freaking out and yelling a little bit after watching the Oilers. It's 2 afternoon games. I get the Oilers over the past 5 years have really sucked in afternoon games. I don't give a dang. The Oilers got to get going here, and today another unacceptable effort in all facets of the game. where goaltending is somehow your best part of it, despite not helping. So friends, leave your comments in the section below. Thanks for being aboard here today. Appreciate you hanging out with me. I might be offside, but you know what? I've been offside enough times that it don't matter if I'm offside. At some point I'm onside and it all makes sense. So we'll see what the Oilers do Tuesday night in Ottawa. By the way, we got the Montreal Canadiens waiting for us when we get home. So is it going to get better? Probably not. Probably going to get worse. But we'll see if the Ottawa Senators can get a goalie that makes a save, because that's been their problem this season so far. For right now, though, I am up on out of here. Have yourself a great rest of the Sunday. Tonight, book it, live stream, 6 o'clock here on Dolynny TV as the Toronto Blue Jays take on the Seattle Mariners. I said it, I'm ready for disappointment today, the Blue Jays and the Oilers. But hey, the Blue Jays, after the Oilers disappointed me, are going to deliver home a Game 6 victory, and we're going 7 for the ALCS against the Seattle Mariners. Thanks for being aboard, friends. Of course, right now you're going to see all the videos to click on after the fact. Maybe check out that Blue Jays playlist. If not, check out the regular season so far here on the channel, or go over to Patrick's channel and get mixed up on the Oilers Fanatic. All right, I'm up on, gone.